All right, welcome back to T&K Sports Talk. My name's Thomas,
I'm Kevin.
And I'm
and we are
Gayle.
joined by a very special guest today, Gayle Saunders, Fourth and Jawn. Thanks for coming on, Gayle.
Hey man, I appreciate you having me on, man. I heard that you guys are starting up, and I support it. Welcome to the community. Let's talk these birds like we know we want to talk.
We got schedule release day, man. We got crazy schedules to look at. Starting off with week 1, Thomas. We got Atlanta. What you thinking, man?
Atlanta, man, I think this could go either way because they got Julio and Ridley and Pitts, which seems like all I've been seeing over Twitter and everything. But man, their defense is so bad, and especially losing Dan Quinn to the Cowboys, and I know he took a couple players with him. I have a feeling our offense is going to be looking pretty good, but if we don't sign another CB2, we might be in trouble.
On paper, that the idea of Kyle Pitts, Ridley, and Julio Jones. That's a legit
matchup.
It's a legit dynamic duo. Like obviously Kyle Pitts has not seen the NFL yet. We haven't seen him. But the idea of Julio Jones and him on the field at the same time, Ridley as a route runner, we'll see, man. Again, I think it's a fairly nice matchup for us first game. I think if you end up winning the first game, it's a perfect way to start the season.
Yeah, especially with the new D coordinator.
Yeah,
D coordinator, no new sticks. Yeah,
we went down there at Atlanta last year, and leaving the stadium after catching an L, like when you thought they were going to win the game, like it was a bad feeling, and then having to get on an airplane and come back, and that whole trip was great, but just this time I think are you guys going down there this year?
I'm gonna try to get to a road game this year. We'll see what it is. Me and my brother are talking about maybe hitting up Vegas. We'll see. We'll see what goes on with that. It's October, got a lot of stuff going on that month, but I'm gonna try. I know y'all are going down.
I'm gonna try for that one too.
There's no try, guys. There's no try. There's only do.
All right, Master Yoda over here. Man, you got the green.
Hey, man. You want me to start doing Yoda voices? I will.
But yeah, I think when you're looking at Atlanta here, you gotta look up matchups, because that's definitely what this game is gonna come down to. Because last year, Atlanta, much like Philadelphia, was in the bottom 5 in the league in sacks allowed. Matt Ryan last year got sacked 41 times. We allowed Carson Wentz last year to get sacked 50 times. One of those quarterbacks is not here anymore. Part of the reason could be that Carson Wentz was getting sick and tired of being on his back 24/7. But I think now with the Eagles kind of addressing defensive line later in the draft, kind of get some rotation in there, it gives you an opportunity to take advantage of their, needless to say, suspect O-line at best, because they didn't do anything to help that. I mean, Jake Matthews is still on that left side, and the right side of their O-line is in complete shambles right now. I mean, they got no one to block that right side of the line, which could mean well for guys like Teron Jackson and Derek Barnett to really bend the edge and get after a pocket guy like Matt Ryan. Overall, this game really just comes down to if Kyle Pitts shows out, it could be a long day, because he's still got Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley to worry about.
I mean, if you're trying to put up 50, hey.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you guys feel? Like, do you think that was a neglect for them to not pick a quarterback?
Yeah, I think so. This move was solely to give Matt Ryan another chance. I mean, because next year, if Matt Ryan doesn't do anything again, you're sitting on another top 10 to top 15 pick to go get a new quarterback. I feel like with where they were, you got to go with that potential generational talent that everyone's so high on. Because, I mean, even if Matt Ryan doesn't work out, then all those weapons are still there. I mean, if Julio is still there, we'll see. Because, I mean, he could be on the chopping block too. We saw that prior to draft day.
It's possible. I mean, that the whole idea of trading Julio has been a thing for like three years now.
Yeah. Literally since they blew 28-3, Julio's been on the chopping block. It seems like it never happens. So
yeah. Guy's making a lot of money though.
Oh yeah. Top 5 receiver in the league. You got to get that money.
I still think Atlanta should have traded down in the draft and, if they would have traded down to 10 for Dallas and got Micah Parsons and let Jerry get his guy in Pitts, I think it would have been a smarter move for Atlanta because they need that help on defense.
I'd have
Hey,
been
we
losing
don't-
sleep though, man.
We don't want Pitts. We don't want Pitts in the NFC East.
We don't want
No,
them.
as soon as Pitts got picked at 4, I was like, all right, we won the top 5, and we're not even in the top 5. Like,
Yeah.
but then we get to San Francisco home opener. This is the game. I try to get to one game a year. This is definitely the game that I feel like I'm going to get to. Gayle, do you guys plan on kind of throwing anything this year or no?
Definitely, yeah, man. We'll get the tailgates going. It should be exciting. I mean, it's after being shut in for almost a year and a half now. I think
Yeah.
everyone's ready to get out, have a good time. What better way to greet Trey Lance if he's starting by then? Then Eagles packed stadium. I mean,
Yeah.
there's guys on the Eagles that have not played in front of a packed stadium. I know Darius Slade's wondering what that's like, and I think it's gonna be a hell of a game, dude.
Oh yeah, because I mean, like talking about F-Lot's gonna be crazy. I know that's where y'all camp out. I mean, F-Lot's crazy enough like before COVID, and you talk about like post NFL's trying to get back to normal here. Man, F-Lot's gonna be crazy.
Could be, man.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what restrictions hold on that. But back to San Francisco, I think part of the reason why, this is why I hate this narrative of the Eagles have the easiest schedule in the league. I think you really got to take that narrative out of the window with a team like San Francisco. Because, I mean, last year you talked about a team just like us that was completely riddled with injury.
Mm-hmm.
They had about 5 or 6 starters on IR by week 8. I mean, just think about that. And one of those was Jimmy Garoppolo right away. I mean, not to say that Garoppolo is a great quarterback or anything. I mean, he's got his own problems. Yeah, just like we do. We'll see if Trey Lance, like you said, is starting by then. I just don't see it. I feel like they're going to ride this thing out as long as they can until Jimmy gives them a reason to pull the trigger.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna want to play a Trey Lance early. No. Let him come when he's ready. But they do got some weapons, man. Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, as your 1 and 2 wide receivers. I think we all know who George Kittle is and what kind of damage he does. And you got I think that versatile offense with Shanahan. You never know what kind of magic he's going to put together. Mohamed Sanu's on the 49ers, people forget.
He's still
you got
too.
Some
no slouch.
Yeah, you got some crafty route runners. I'm a huge fan of Austin Watkins Jr., a guy that we had an interview on our Talk to Prospect series. They got him undrafted. I feel like he's going to be a guy that might surprise somebody. So overall, I mean, I just think we take that one. We have.
Yeah, I think so. I think that stadium finally full again after all this COVID stuff hit last year. Those fans, that stadium's gonna be shaking, dude. It's gonna be nuts. And if Jimmy G ain't ready for it, he's gonna have a long day.
Yeah, I think so too. If it was a away game out in San Fran, it'd be a lot tougher. But I think we take this one too. The place is going to be rocking, and like you said, I don't think Garoppolo is going to be ready for it. I don't think he's going to react to them drafting Trey Lance like Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love, go out and have an MVP season. I don't know if he has the mental capability to handle something like that.
We'll see with the whole Rodgers situation, because week 10 we got Denver. That's a huge potential landing spot. So we'll see with that.
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean, that's back-to-back weeks to start out the season where you're facing 2 dynamic tight ends. So this is a really good test for the new defensive scheme. Looks like we're still going to be running a 4-3, but looks like a 4-3 under, which means I think we're going to try to be jamming a lot of these tight ends off the line, not letting them get to the middle of the field. So we'll see what goes on with that. But these first 2 weeks, I can easily see a 1-1 record, and I'll take that with a home and away with 2 dynamic tight ends and versatile offenses, like you said, Gayle. I mean, I'd take 1-1 after after the first 2 weeks with this new look team.
I take 2-0 first.
Well, I'll take 17. Gayle. Who are we kidding?
Yeah, I mean it really is a toss up, but I think if they do start out 2-0, that's a perfect opportunity to go into a divisional game. Playing
Monday Night
Dallas.
Football.
Like if you got that kind of juice, it's again this team was missing the juice. It started in the locker room, and it showed up on the field, and it looked like a team divided. So I think in theory, if you can pick up the juice in one and 2 weeks, 1 and 2, I mean that's the kind of energy that you're trying to bring down to Dallas.
Yeah, and I've mentioned this before. Like what I'm really looking forward to seeing with this offense is, we all know how animated Sirianni is and everything. I feel like what's really going to set this team apart, if this team's going to have success, is if we see Hurts the first couple of weeks making big plays on his feet and through the air like he did all throughout his college career. And you see Sirianni, kind of like a McVay, like he's having to be held back by his offensive coordinator because he just wants to get out to the field and celebrate with his offense. I feel like that's really good. What's going to pick this team up throughout the season if this team is going to go anywhere. You need that high energy because last year, the past couple of years after the Super Bowl, it just hasn't been there, man. It died off. Like that team was.
Say we had too much fun.
No such thing as too much fun, dude. I mean, you and I know we were both there at the parade.
I know.
I just think when you're at that much of a high, you can only go a little lower from there, and it just got a little too low the past few years, and got to build it back up. And with an animated guy like Sirianni,
this team's been injured, man. It's been banged up. I spoke with Rick Lovato a couple weeks ago. He was saying, I asked him what the biggest difference between being on a Super Bowl team and this team that you were on previously. It was just kind of basically just saying we just we couldn't put it together. Like in the previous years, things that worked didn't work now.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like it was a team divided. They looked exactly like a team that was like on paper, yeah, but he said they dealt with injuries, which is also true. But I just feel like that 2017 team, it was like the next man up, but they all were supportive of each other.
Yeah,
you can see it.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it helped dividing the locker room at any with that whole Hurts pick last year. I'm sure whether they want to admit to it or not, that there were some players on the team that thought Wentz should be out there, and then you had the players on the team that want Hurts out there. I don't think it's any secret that Sanders is pretty happy that Wentz is gone and he has Hurts now.
There's a tweet that CBS had tagged me in. It was about Miles Sanders, and he's like the second after 2 years. He's like shades above him, but in all-purpose yards, I believe he's second already. And it was someone was talking about him dropping passes or whatever, and he's tagged in all these tweets.
Yeah,
and he actually
he's ready to show out. Yeah,
he actually liked a tweet that said, it spoke to how they were off in the tweet.
Yeah,
and he liked it. He was just like, I was like, he's sticking up for him because the ball. I went back and looked at all the ball placement was pretty bad.
Oh yeah, it's been awful. Yeah. I mean, you talk
Wentz's
about a guy
short, intermediate pass, screen pass. They're all over the place.
He's thrown him to a 6'6" running back is who he's trying to throw that to. I mean, Sanders is only 5'10" and a half, dude. I mean, come on.
I mean, hey man, if you go back and watch the tape, that's the one thing that stands out to me the most is going back and watching the tape. And I went to the scouting academy last season, and our first assignment was to find one of your favorite players on your team and look at his first game versus his last game of the season, and the difference between mechanics and everything with Wentz was night and day. The Green Bay game compared to the beginning of the season, it was bad. It was really, it was disheartening. And as a fan base, we're moving forward. But I'm just saying, going back to the film, you'll see certain things that'll pop up, and the fan base will try to make excuses for for or against, but watching the film is the best way to figure out like what the Eagles did last season.
Yeah, that Green Bay game was really when it all just kind of fell apart. I mean, it was done. I mean, like the report that the report came out like 2 days later that like Wentz was starting to want out like after being benched, but it was clear even before that something wasn't there. That fire wasn't there anymore. He was done. He was out.
It is what it is, though.
Yeah, but I mean we're on to Dallas Monday Night Football. Where do you think we stand on Dak and that team? I mean, that defense looks improved on the Dallas end. I mean, Micah Parsons and signed a couple of corners.
I think overall, I just think the Dallas last season, their defense just historically fell apart. Like they were historically bad. I think you lose your team leader in Dak, as much as we joke about what Dak is.
Yeah.
As a Eagles fan base, I think, to Dallas Nation, I think he exemplifies a leader in the locker room and players play for him.
Yeah.
He's a guy that shows up week in and week out, extends plays. I think, his game he's starting, he's refined his game in terms of like what people thought he was to what he is now. I mean, got a big contract. I like what they did on defense, getting Micah Parsons. They got Jaron Curse.
Yeah.
Who's the other? Was it DeMonte Casey?
Yeah, DeMonte Casey, and they picked the cornerback Kelvin. Forget his last name.
From Kentucky.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think they got the all-off-field. The all-off-field
class of 2021.
They had one of their offensive tackles had a domestic case with his I think his girlfriend. I think Kelvin has had issues at LSU.
Yeah,
a lot of people were saying that when he transferred. My guy at my boy Braxton, who used to write for 4th and Jawn, covered Kentucky for a couple of years, and he was like, he's like, this guy's gonna be the truth. He'll get drafted maybe day 2. And he ended up getting drafted day 2. So they got a valuable corner. Jabril Cox, another guy I like.
He fell really far. I was really shocked to see him fall. But I know he's got some of his concerns along the way. But
did he go 5th or 4th?
I think he went 5th.
That was like the perfect area where he went.
Yeah, I mean, like I had him picked as like kind of an early day 2 guy. Well, not early day 2, but like more so like back end of round 3. But last seen round 5, I was really surprised. I mean, I know we don't value the linebacker position, but after missing out on JOK with his heart issue, I mean, I get it, but would have liked him on the roster, not gonna lie. But
they picked up.
If there was another guy I would have liked in place of that, it was definitely Jabril Cox. I love them SEC linebackers, dude. Mm-hmm. They thump and they make you feel it.
I mean, he's my day 3 guy. He's not much of like he's great in coverage to like 900 plus snaps in the slot. So you're talking about a rangy linebacker. He's not the most instinctive when it comes to diagnosing the run. I would like to see a little bit more violence in this game. I know he had like a shoulder issue the previous year when he was at.
Yeah, that was the main reason why he fell, because they said it was lingering and could require surgery by the time that the season rolls around. Yeah. Because they said there was inflammation in that shoulder already, and that's why they said he did fall. Might need another checkup.
And looking at some of his tape, I was like, all right, maybe that's why he was a little, because he was playing through that injury.
Yeah.
But hey, man, he still went to LSU. He showed out there as well. But it is what it is. The whole last season was so difficult for draft season. But they got some guys, man. I like what they did defensively. I think it's wait and see with them. Their offensive line is usually banged up. And they're trying to figure some things out up front. How long can Tyron Smith play?
Right. It's getting Jason Peters territory with how many games he's missing on a consistent basis.
Yeah. I mean, Zach Martin. They lost Frederick.
Yeah, Frederick retired after his issues.
Yep. What's
I
he
mean,
get?
that once great wall of Dallas is starting to get a little thin. So that
Their
opportunity
wide
to
receivers
bring
are
in,
legit, man. They got some
yeah,
wideouts, dude. They got some wideouts.
yeah. I said in our mock, I'm not looking forward to seeing CD Lamb in year 2. I think he's gonna be a big problem.
I think so. We'll see.
Yeah, that game's a total toss up. I think that game, since it's early on in terms of talking spread, I think you're looking at a pick 'em with that situation there.
It's gonna be tough to play.
There you go.
No, I said it's gonna be tough to go into Dallas. I mean, you're gonna have to match that intensity, especially for a young team that we have. I'm interested to see it.
Yeah, that receiver core is going to be hard to stop, and their defense could be better. But it's all really going to come down to for their whole season, I think, is if how Dak is going to come back from that ankle injury. You know, that picture a couple months ago of him at the beach where it still didn't look too great. Who knows if week 3, if he's fully comfortable out there and, you know, it's still the same old Dak or not.
That's a good point. You know, like you say, you know, it's the ankle, but you know, some players, it can be a nagging injury. It could have been a clean break and he's back to normal. But hey, man, anytime you break a bone, in your mobile quarterback, we all know once Wentz got injured, he was not the same mobile quarterback.
No, that
he lost the twitch
from how he was mobile in 2017. I mean, like getting out of the scramble of Washington, like he was in a sea of players, and then all of a sudden he's running for 25 yards. I mean, you fast forward a year. I mean, he's got the brace on, and then 2019, it just wasn't there. Like, I don't know if it was just a factor of like didn't want it to happen again, or if they kind of lingered just enough to where it slowed him down to where he wasn't the same quarterback. But that hurt him because that was the main reason why he was so attractive coming out of this draft. Is he had that strong arm, but he was mobile enough to run away from defenses and use that strong arm to push the ball down the field. Once he lost that edge, started to lose that fire. And now we're moving on with another actual mobile quarterback in Jalen Hurts. So Lord help us. Let's see if he can keep that mobility forever.
I mean, I think that's the most exciting part about our season is like the unknown of Jalen Hurts. Like for me, it is like I'm like you can either go look at it as like, you know, like is Jalen Hurts the man? Is you gonna look? I'm more like I'm interested to see what he has, what he brings as a leader. Like when he knows it's his team, and the idea of him like players buying in is a real thing that I've heard from some players saying that the team was behind Jalen. Like some of these younger guys bought in. They were like, this dude is like legit. If he's a leader,
he's already there at NovaCare, like to greet Devontae on his like freaking first day in his like photo shoot, and he's shooting with him. He's just like
games with him.
I mean, it's a mindset. Like you like part of playing football. It's a mindset of buying in. Like guys will show up, and if you're not bought in and you don't believe in what you're doing out there on the football team, I'm on the football field, it shows. Like I feel like Jalen has the opportunity to like cement his career this year. So I feel like if he starts out like gangbusters, man, like I'm telling you, man, like even were you guys shocked when we beat the Saints?
Stunned. Like I knew like we were like going in like as a heavy underdog in that game, but I was not expecting to see that type of performance out of Hurts. I was, because the total pregame going in was like, oh, like he's got the butterflies going. It's going to be his first career start, and he's got to go up against that fierce defense that the Saints had. I mean, they were number 1 in ranks in so many categories, and it was Hurts' first start. I mean, the first couple of possessions, he moved the ball right down the field like he was back at Oklahoma. Like it was effortless. And it was amidst of a team that was dealing with all these injuries. And I don't know if it was just something that clicked in practice that like right away they kind of bought in, like they were done with Wentz already. And they were like, all right.
Team had some juice, man. It's real.
It lit something. Yeah. I mean, like granted, we were facing like freaking Taysom Hill in that game. It wasn't the Drew Brees territory, but
yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty high on Hurts even like before we drafted him. Just I watched a whole bunch of Oklahoma games, and So like I was kind of bittersweet when we drafted him because I was like, this is ridiculous. We're drafting a quarterback, but at the same time, I was like, this kid is going to be better than a day 2 pick in my opinion. But whenever they were like, yep, he's starting against top 5 defense that's playing amazing. I think they came off a great week or something. I'm like, yeah, this kid's gonna do pretty bad in this game, and I was shocked that he was able to do what he was able to do.
Yeah, and then even Arizona the following week, I mean, we were down by 18 early, and he came storming back and he got us the lead. Like he never quit, and that was, I think, a big part of why they're so bought in is that he had that great performance against the Saints. I mean, kind of fizzled out towards the end of the game. Like, it wasn't that great, like in the third and fourth quarters. But when you talk about a rookie in his second career start against Arizona on the road, and he came back after a pretty bad first couple of possessions, and he lit a fire under that team. And the team came back. I mean, ended up coming short in the end, but I mean, it wasn't for a faint of heart. I mean, came close in that final couple of throws. I mean, Goddard dropped one in the end zone to tie the game, and then came down to the Hail Mary, and that fell short. I mean, like you said, Gayle, I think this team's prepared to buy in this year.
Yeah, I just think it hurts at the end of the season. People will be ticky-tack and be like, "Well, he didn't win the last," but they pulled the starters.
Yeah.
I mean, they had an opportunity to kick a field goal. They didn't kick the field goal. So, like, when you're talking about, like, how many wins he had versus whatever, like, just think about a rookie coming into a COVID-like situation in a pandemic.
No
his
offseason.
first start, like beating the New Orleans Saints in his first start. No offseason. You talk about OTAs. You talk about just like being locked in with his players. He's going to get that chance, and we'll see what kind of communication there is on the field. If it transfers over, we'll see if that Devonta Smith Alabama connection is real. Who's not excited about that? Like, you got to be a real stick in the mud to like not be excited for the youth movement. Like, it's all about the youth movement. Like, so I mean, like, if you're sitting here, it's the beginning of the off season, and you're like upset about, like, this is about getting younger. It's a young man's league. It's time to get younger. It's time to see some future stars, and there's enough of them. There's enough guys to be excited about.
There's enough, and then 3 future potential first round picks next year. I mean, we're talking about getting younger. I mean, this is the time to do it. You got to hit. So
potential.
Everybody's talking rebuild, but Jalen Hurts does go out and they keep saying with the 3 first round picks we'll have the ammo to go out and get Watson or whoever else.
Whoa.
I'm not on Watson, dude. I don't think we're a quarterback away.
Neither am I. But like,
I mean, in theory, Watson, I do like the idea of the player Watson, and he's had a squeaky clean image. But did you guys read all those reports?
I did. I've read every single one of them. I'm reading.
Weird, right?
Like, yeah.
Like you're reading and
yeah.
you're reading and trying to like, all right, I don't know about that. I'm like, and you think like, all right, even if he gets cleared of that, you're just like, what about Russell Wilson?
Yeah, Russell Wilson is intriguing. Like, I'm just at the mindset where I would rather just use those first round picks.
I totally younger talent. 3 first rounds in the. I mean,
because you look at a team like Denver, they may only be a quarterback away, and that's why they can afford to like trade their mortgage for like an Aaron Rodgers or a Russell Wilson if they choose to. Because I mean, they're loaded at wide receiver, and their defense is still good enough to go make another run.
But how long has John Elway missed? Like, I said, how long has John Elway missed on QBs? Like, he's shown that he's needed a Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
To get back there. Like, he needs to, if he needs to get his Peyton Manning and now he's going to get Aaron Rodgers, then, we'll see. That would make sense.
I mean, he calls up Jacksonville, prize the new tight end away. He's like, hey, you want to play quarterback again?
How about that, man? The talk on the timeline about Tebow is like, That sells tickets, man. Tebow sells
Greatest
tickets.
number 11 in Eagles history.
With the potential names that are out there, man, if Jalen Hurts does like go out and show out though this year, and looks like he can be a serviceable quarterback in this league, there's 3 firsts are going to be great next year because we can do whatever we want with them. Get our linebacker, get our CB2, or probably just go 3 offensive linemen, knowing Howie.
Thomas is saying linebacker in round 1.
Linebacker round 1.
We could all hope and pray, man. That's something we all hope and pray. Yeah. I remember what was it, Patrick
Queen.
Patrick Queen.
Last year.
Kenneth Murray.
Yeah.
I was like, his story was amazing. I was like, imagine him, bro. Like, but it is what it is.
It was there, dude, but whatever.
I don't want to hash up old stuff, but
we do have the potential in that spot this year, though, with Singleton and Wilson. They have the potential to be a pretty nice duo.
Yeah, like Singleton. Singleton's a good good inside linebacker. I just don't like.
Are you excited over
like a Jordan Hicks back?
Are you excited over basic play?
Right.
Like when I think of a position in a player, I think Singletary upside, like what he brought to the table, the want to for him. He's definitely an effort player. Like that play against the Giants where he just ran over. It was Devontae Freeman to make that. Like that's kind of play right there that. That just exemplifies what kind of player he is. But Wilson that we brought from the Vikings, I think our linebackers coach knows exactly. He's been with him for the last 2 years where he was undrafted free agent.
Yeah, past 3 years in developing Eric Wilson. I mean, led the Vikings in tackles. So I mean, something's there. As linebacker coach came back over. So I mean. Hopefully Eric Wilson can pick up where he left off last year. I mean, had that high motor and high intensity in the COVID year. I mean, it keeps circling back around to, so many players feed off of that energy from the crowd. Like we see it time and time again. Some players they need that crowd to get them going. They need to hear that cheer. They need to hear that boo. But last year there was none of that. And even when there was, it was extremely limited. So, you talk about a guy who had that much opportunity, that big of a stat line in a COVID year. If he's a guy that feeds off the crowd, could be looking at a very underrated acquisition for this year.
I know a lot of Vikings fans were saying that like they were more happy about his play than Anthony Barr.
Yeah.
And what he brought to the table as a fill-in, but he not only did he fill in, but he fit in.
Yeah.
He's a guy that was commanding his players around. He was the quarterback of the defense. You like to hear those things as an Eagle fan. Like now he's getting an opportunity to showcase his skills. And if they like what they see after this year, the year we don't have money, next year could be a potential. If he fits. You never know, man. If a guy ball out, I know Jordan Hicks is available and seeking a trade. I would love it. In theory,
get old Simba back. Yeah.
I didn't even put it up anywhere. It's just like sitting in a box. It's that when he picked off
Matt Castle,
Dallas game.
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
I remember that game all too well, dude. He picked off Matt Castle and took it to the house.
Yeah, it's autographed, everything.
Yeah, and I was at that week 2 game when he took down Tony Romo.
Yeah.
We know Philly. It's tough and everything, but that was.
But for $1 million
when he became that fan favorite.
$1 million, hey.
Yeah.
We'll see.
$1 million when we're scraping the bottom of the bucket for money. Hey.
Next year we'll have money.
Yeah,
just the way our bank account is set up in my Kevin Hart voice, it's gonna, we got to be frugal,
Yeah, our bank account right now is wow, bro.
Wow, yeah, it's all good though. It's all good.
But yeah, man, week 4. I'm not looking forward to this one. This is a game that I hate to pencil in games early, but unless this team proves to be something big. this is a game. I mean, you're talking about Patrick Mahomes right now, generational quarterback. He's only in what, year 4, year 5? And this game's gonna be interesting, man. I mean, I know we match up kind of well against these types of quarterbacks, the intermediate kind of like half mobile, half pocket types of guys. That's when we usually kind of hone in the spy on the QB. But I just feel like Tyreek Hill, I mean, they're gonna try their best to line him up in the slot. When, I mean, as it stands right now, I mean, we're looking at cornerback 2s being Avonte Maddox and Kayvon Seymour. I mean, that didn't get cut it against a team like Kansas City. I mean, as it stands right now,
you don't like tire salesmen?
No. I mean, we'll see on a guy like Braylon Arnold what he's got in the offseason. But I mean, you're talking about
maybe
all-star team.
Nelson in here.
Yeah,
I would love that move. I think that would make a lot of Eagles fans be a little more okay with them not drafting a quarterback until the 4th round if their plan was, get a veteran in here.
It just looks like it on paper. They didn't really hammer home the idea of getting another quality corner. And I thought day 2, day 3,
especially at 37. Yeah,
it was littered with corners.
Yeah,
like you only got one. Like you could have double dipped in. Obviously the Landon Dickerson pick was, in theory, he's a mauler and if healthy, but like
in theory smart. But I mean, like there was a lot of glaring needs besides like building like another future center for Kelsey, who's set to play for the year. I mean, versus when you don't have any cornerbacks on the board for your team this year. I mean, I like Avonte Maddox. I like what he can bring, but I mean, he's a slot corner, dude. He's best available when he's playing underneath, covering those drags.
Playing against a KC offense that is, it could be the Kelsey Bowl as well. It could be the Uncle Andy Bowl. But I feel like just KC in general with Holmes leading the way. I mean, he's a next level talent. I think. Yeah. I think. What team do we see next year? The hungry version of the Chiefs, or content Chiefs, or like. But I have Mahomes. Eagle fans in our podcast, where they were just in the comments like, "Oh, that's a no. That's a no. That's a no." We'll see. We're the sleep. I call us we're the sleeping dogs.
Teams get stunned. Yeah. I mean, 2018, we took down the Rams when all was lost.
But that's how I want it, though. I mean, at the end of the day, like right now, like this is what you want from our Eagles. Like, unassuming. Nobody knows the identity of this team. Nobody knows the kind of juice that they have. Nobody knows what kind of leadership they have.
Yeah.
Nobody knows the play calling. Nobody knows how these players are utilized. So, I mean, again, hey, man, KC, we'll see, man. It is what it is.
Yeah. So then we get on to week 5 here. Who's on tap for week 5?
Yeah, the Carolina Panthers.
Carolina, that's right.
Now in their center.
This game, I think, is very winnable. I think this game really comes down to, like, was Sam Darnold all this time being held back by New York, or is Sam Darnold just kind of that, like, was only good at USC and he's just not a good pro QB? Because, I mean, Carolina, you look at a team who, I mean, they got DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey. They took your guy, Gayle in the draft as second running back. Yeah. We had a mock in our first episode of we had the Eagles taking J.C. Horn at 12 and then Therese Marshall at 30, trading back in the first round. I mean, Carolina stole our mock draft. I mean,
I know. I saw when Therese Marshall went off the board. I'm like, man, I've been mocking that for like how many months?
Yeah.
But the whole idea, like, J.C. Horn, the aggressive corner, whatever. But I only had 4 targets. It was J.C. Horn, and I had Devonta Smith as my number 1 and then I had Patrick Surtain and I had Waddle. And I was like, if you land one, and people were just like, what is this J.C. Horn versus Surtain? Like, why do you keep? I'm like, I was like, we could go back and argue. Yeah. But the idea is like finding the targets that fit. Like,
Yeah.
find the players, right? Like, and I said, we'll be lucky if we get one. I was like,
right.
It's not going to be like,
especially being in the position like pre-trade with Dallas, where like if we can get one of those guys, it'll be a huge win. Because then, but I mean, you factor in
JC
trading
Horn,
back
Surtain. It's not. I was like, they're both not going to be on the board at the same time. So
yeah, no.
I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just going to say those are the guys. Go get those guys. So my hat tip to him to going to Carolina. I don't think we don't know who Sam Darnold is. Is he the I see dead people?
That's what I'm saying. Like, is he just that like? Is he that Matt Leinart, Mark Sanchez, like peaked at USC and then just not a good pro transition, or was it the Jets holding him back the whole time?
He got lit up, man. Like your quarterback says he's seen ghosts. He didn't even know he was locked up. You know what I mean? I felt bad for him.
Yeah, because I mean that talent is there. I mean, like he's in a position now where he's behind a good O-line. He's got a great running back. I mean, his best running back when he was at New York was past his prime Le'Veon Bell. I mean, think about that for a second. I mean, now you come to Carolina, who like weapons-wise, like if you're a great quarterback, like if you play well for them, you're talking about like flirting with a top 10 offense with the amount of talent that they got.
McCaffrey, DJ Moore,
Terrace Marshall, if he turns into a good pro.
Yeah, Terrace Marshall. Also Temple South.
Yeah.
Robbie
Anderson.
Their backup quarterback, Temple quarterback, correct?
PJ Walker.
Yep.
They went out and signed Hassan Reddick too on defense.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
I mean, Carolina. I think if you're betting on like Vegas odds for a team to really surprise people, I mean, 1 and 2 for me is the LA Chargers and the Carolina Panthers. I mean, they just happen to be on our schedule, both teams this year. But I feel like you look at both of those teams, they did a lot of great things in the offseason to boost that ability to, like you said, Gayle, to buy into a system. Because you look at last year, both those teams did not have that great of an identity. I mean, Carolina was flirting with like Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, like, all right, but it was clear he wasn't going to be the guy. I mean, Carolina is simply just trying to find an answer for the time being. I mean, you look at LA, I mean, Justin Herbert, rookie quarterback. I mean, you got to surround him with that talent, and they did. They got him a great offensive line, and I mean, both those teams are looking really good right now. So I think if you're betting on Vegas right now, keep an eye on those two teams. But Carolina, I feel like if all comes together and Sam Darnold turns into the quarterback that Carolina wants him to be, because I mean, pressure's off. He doesn't have to be like that save the Jets quarterback anymore. He's going in with no expectations because no one knows who he is. So, I mean, if you come in and ball out, I mean, you're talking about a top 10 offense with what they got. I feel like it's a winnable game because, I mean, Sam Darnold, I mean, even if he does pan out, he is one of those quarterbacks where he's either going to win you the game by himself or he's going to lose you the game by himself. So,
chalking it up as a dub. I feel like the juice is flying and soaring. The Eagles are feeling a certain way and
come off an upset against Kansas City.
Chalk it up as a dub. You know, they take an L in KC, but then they take it out on Carolina.
I can see them taking up the dub here too, because I got a couple friends at work that are big Jets fans, and they don't see why a lot of Panthers fans and some people around the league are thinking that Darnold's going to go down there and ball out. They're like, dude, this dude sucks. He was like, this guy shouldn't have been traded for like a 7th round pick, let alone what we got for him. So
we'll see.
I mean, we'll see what he does, but
I mean,
if you get hit too much, it's a wrap. Like, yeah, we all know what happened to David Carr. We all know what happened to Carson Wentz. You take too many hits, it's a wrap, dude. Like, you start seeing ghosts.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Poltergeist under center and in the shotgun.
Yeah, I hope we pick up the dub this week because, last week the week before this, we probably get the loss with Kansas City, and then next week having Super Bowl champs returning all 22 starters coming to town.
So that is it's like Philadelphia versus TB. It's like Tom Brady.
Yeah, I mean this is This is a really interesting matchup because I mean, like while they have all 22 returning, I mean it's still an aging group a little bit. I mean, like it was talking about last year a system. I mean, it's so easy to buy into a Bruce Arians system. I mean, we've seen it so many times over the years. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger in 2008. I mean, Bruce Arians was on that Pittsburgh staff who bought into them because I mean he was right under Mike Tomlin when he was still a young coach. Everyone was buying into Bruce Arians because he was the vet in that coaching staff. I mean, he goes off to Arizona, people buy into him. I mean, he revives Carson Palmer a little bit. Now he comes out to Tampa after taking some time off and immediately win a Super Bowl and with Tom Brady. I mean, it's so easy to buy into that system, but I mean, if you catch that system on a bad day, I mean, he got beat by Nick Foles last year, and this team isn't indestructible.
I feel that. I just feel like they all bought in. I think again
they did.
They have a great opportunity to repeat.
It's so hard to get there. It's even harder to repeat. I mean, I know you guys have quoted that multiple times on 4th and Jawn, like us coming off the Super Bowl and looking into the 2018 year and everything. It's so tough to go back, but I feel like when you got where I stand on it, I'll call him the GOAT, Tom Brady. And when you got Tom Brady on your team, you're an automatic contender. I mean, the NFC East, or not the NFC East, the regular NFC, I feel like it's even more wide open now because, I mean, if Aaron Rodgers ditches Green Bay and there's no more Drew Brees, I mean, you're looking at a wide open NFC where Tampa Bay is the team that you're chasing to represent in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I think they hold the cards.
Definitely with them trying to go back to back. I think a lot of teams, even like the Eagles in 17, fall into that trap where they're content and stuff. I think with having Tom Brady, if anybody looks like, they're not giving it their all because, they don't need to, I'm sure Brady's going to, call them out and make sure he's up to the level that they're supposed to be.
Yeah, because, I mean, Tom Brady, I mean, you talk about the ultimate buy-in. I mean, Tampa Bay, they brought him in and said, like, what do you need? We'll go get it for you. What do you need? I want Antonio Brown. Okay. We'll get Antonio Brown, and somehow he won't be a maniac anymore. Like, all right. Like, cool.
It's crazy how
Gronk's thing.
He went from, like, getting, like, arrested to, like, just being out of the league to, like, winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Within,
overnight, because I mean he was signed in like week 6 last year, didn't play for a while because I mean had to get established, like hadn't played the game in like over a year, and then immediately comes in and like his like first couple of games he's racking up tutties with Tom Brady. I mean Tom Brady's the ultimate buy-in, dude. I mean you talk about a guy who made names out of guys like Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola, Chris Hogan had a Super Bowl catch in 2017. I mean, you talk about a guy that is the epitome of makes everyone around him better. So, I mean, you talk about a guy like that. I mean, I know they've had a pretty silent offseason. I mean, how can you not? I mean, return all 22 and then just kind of do whatever in the drafts. Didn't really do anything too noticeable, but they didn't need to. They still have everything that they need. So, I mean.
Yeah, but I do think, players are like signing up to go back. They're like, run it back. Like, hey man, I'll take less to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what kind of sucked about going into 2018 for our Birds after the Super Bowl is losing guys like LeGarrette Blount and like guys like that hurt. That hurt big time.
Yeah, like it's just guys that are leaders in the locker room.
Yeah.
When we lost Chris Long at that one point, I was like,
Chris Long was a huge loss because that defense, that was
as a leader.
Yeah. I mean, looking at Tampa, I think we sneak a dub in this one thanks to the short week. I think getting short rest with a guy like Tom Brady, I think that's the ideal situation to get Tom Brady into if you're gonna get a dub on him. Because I mean,
know about that one.
Because I'm looking at how Chicago played their hand against Tom Brady last year. I think you got to follow the same suit. I mean, you get Tom Brady on a short week. He doesn't get to be bought into an opponent for as long for a week preparation.
If it's anyone that knows how to beat Tom Brady, it could be a Philadelphia team.
Yeah.
Just saying. Brandon Graham's still here.
I think we make it closer than some people were probably thinking because, I feel like we're going to have some energy this year with Hurts and, the young guys we have. And so if it actually does stand that it's on Thursday night football, they're going to be excited for that to, be able to show the world what they can do. And they're going to want to upset Brady. I don't think they're going to get to the point where they actually do, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means or anything.
Yeah, I feel like weeks 1 through 5 are so many toss-ups besides the Kansas City game that week 6 against Tampa on a short week, this is a big opportunity. I would describe it as an identity game. You're talking about 1 through 5. Who knows where you'll be sitting? You got week 6 against Tampa on a short week. You're facing the GOAT and Tom Brady. If you have that energy, if you're bought in, it's time to show it because there's no better time than proving to the greatest quarterback to throw the football that we're here. We're here to challenge you this year. We're not laying back like a lot of people thought we were. This is a big time identity game, I think, judging by how weeks 1 through 5 go. That's why I think this game could end up being a dub because weeks 1 through 5, sitting on maybe 3 wins or so after 5 weeks, showing teams.
I think I'm gonna need you to have that speech in the Eagles locker room before that game.
All right. I'll try to get Howie on the phone. I'll try to preach. Yeah.
I like you speaking into existence over here. You're almost selling me on it, but I'm chalking that as an L. I don't like to chalk up L's, but I feel like they're gonna give a good fight, but I just feel like, and it's well, you know what? It's at home.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We could pull it off. Yeah.
I remember sitting in that hot Tampa Bay sun, losing to the Bucks was not.
To Ryan Fitzpatrick. Oh dear Lord.
I could still see Jalen Mills getting murdered by Deshaun Jackson.
No, you want to talk about disappointment though? I mean, 2019, I was down there in Miami for that game, dude, with my brother. I mean, he lives in Clearwater, Phillies country. I mean, at the time anyway. And we made that 4-hour trip down to Miami in a car. We didn't take no other plane. We made that 4-hour drive down, and it was a long 4-hour drive back.
Losing to Miami? Hey, man, that was it's Miami, the Bucks. Come on, man. I think I was in a 90-degree heat, just sitting there melting into the seat. And being ridiculed by Bucks fans. It's dude on stilts was walking by him. He's had a chain on. He's like, chain's looking a little light, player. And he's on the stilts. I'm like, could you just leave me alone? It's not a good vibe.
Can you go melt too, please?
Chalk it up as an L. We'll move on. I mean, how do you guys feel about Vegas? I mean, I feel like Vegas is the trip that everyone is kind of penciled in as the trip they want to go on to watch the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's
you see that club that's in that stadium that they just put in?
DJ booth, really? Is that what we're doing?
Fourth and Jawn from the DJ booth?
Maybe with the Jabberwockies. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Shout out to Eagles Shirley. She was just out in Vegas. She saw the Jabberwockies.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that stadium. I mean, that's after a COVID year that ruined the opening of that stadium. I mean, Las Vegas. I want to call them Oakland so bad. I almost just did.
Los Angeles, Oakland, Las Vegas. It's not a good thing to be in Vegas for the football team. You're just if you have a player with off the field issues, him in Vegas.
You know what? It's funny that you say that because as soon as that move happened, I'm like, man, could you imagine if Antonio Brown was on that team and they're playing in Vegas?
I mean, even the issues that Nelson Aguilar had with strip clubs in Philly, you put a guy, and he survived Vegas in the COVID year, but that
might be the only reason he survived.
It's not a good play. It's funny. It's funny how Nelson had issues with the locker room, calling guys out of all people.
Yeah, right. like saw that last year. He was like calling people out for like their performance on the field. I'm like, bro, like you realize like just before this year, like your year is 1 year and you've been in the league since 2015. Like chill.
It's definitely interesting that out of all people, him to be like calling guys out.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a great trip. I think it's going to be a great dub. I think
Yes.
that's
This game's
like,
a dub. Yes.
if you want to gamble on the Eagles, no pun intended, this is the game to gamble on them. They should.
Even if you don't go to the game, go to the big sports book that's in Vegas and watch the game from there, dude.
I put money on that.
Yeah.
I put money where my mouth is.
I know you do.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big Eagles fan takeover because think about it, Vegas, last year was their first year in Vegas, but this is the first year that they can have fans there and stuff. How many, like, obviously when they were in Oakland, you got so many people living around Oakland that, are Raiders fans going to the games. How many people in, Nevada are Raiders fans? And, who knows how many Oakland fans are going to travel to Nevada. But Eagles fans,
their fan base is crazy like that out
there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're talking about a fan base that in like 100-degree Oakland was dressing up in full pirate gear. I mean, they don't mess around, dude, and they travel.
People are looking for excuses to like have a good time. You go to Vegas and you get your Raiders. That's pretty. That's a good deal.
But I think Eagles fans are going to travel better, though.
You think so?
I think so. Yeah. I think it's going to be. Remember that Chargers game a couple years ago where there's like no Chargers fans in sight? I feel like it's going to be one of those.
Yeah, I feel like Eagle fans will show up.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be looking like those old NCAA like 14 games where like you got half the stadium one color and half the stadium the other. Like teams are gonna be back and forth. And fans are gonna be nuts.
I've went to enough Eagle games in those run years where we had the Super Bowl run. Just seeing us take over stadiums, I feel like this is just another opportunity for them to take over.
Yeah, I mean, and I just look at Vegas like I'm just so confused with their identity because I mean they gave a 10-year contract to a coach in Jon Gruden to try to light a fire, and they haven't been 500 once in 3 years. I mean, they're not the worst roster in the world, but I mean, like 3 years into a 10-year contract and you've done nothing. You haven't even finished 500.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got old school coaching there. I think some of the things that are going on over there is like I don't know. I mean, Gruden is one thing in the early 2000s, maybe.
Right.
I think he's just
freaking get that point across, but now
he needs a quarterback, dude. He needs.
Yeah, Derek Carr's.
Derek Carr is like he's
like no disrespect, like he's a decent quarterback, but he's not gonna like take it to the next level.
Like you got to either like your quarterback has to progress or take it to the next level. I don't see him taking it to the next level.
No, that next level died like a couple years ago. I feel like Gruden's just trying to find something that's there, and it's just not.
It's funny. I keep checking to see if like any other
any new leaks.
Dropping. You know what I mean? Like the schedule that we have is just like because we did it on our show, and someone's like, "What if the schedule's wrong?" I'm like, "What if it is wrong?"
Opponents are right, at least.
Yeah, opponents are set. It's just a matter of the order. Yeah, I just find it weird that we have a week 14 bye. Like that's just bizarre to me.
Did you guys see? Someone just tweeted. He said, "Me when I see the ticket prices for the Eagles Raiders game."
Oh my god!
Did you guys check out the prices yet?
No,
I haven't. No.
I'm scared after seeing that tweet. Like, what is? It could be expensive.
I would, but the way my bank account is set up, I got checking and savings.
Are you? So you're on the fence. Both of you guys are on the fence about going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I mean, listen. I won't be turned away for the price. It's the fact that I have a lot of stuff going on in October. Like I'm supposed to be going down to Florida in October, and then well, to go down there to Universal Studios. I was supposed to be in Tennessee here in a few weeks, but that got canceled out, and I don't like the look of that, Gayle.
I'm looking at these prices. I'm getting there.
Let me take a wild guess for an upper level ticket. Upper level ticket, I'm guessing kind of around like a $550.
Yeah, let's see here. On the Vivid
But
Seats app.
like I'm not one to be turned away from a price, because a game's a game. You're going for that entertainment. But I mean, it's just tough for me. I'm supposed to be going down to Universal, and then my brother's down there. I want to see him too, and this is all in October, and I don't think I would have to literally take off the entire month of October from work to do all this.
Yeah, it's not posting yet, so we still have a chance.
Doing it for all y'all's sake.
Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to drop whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little freaked out about flying.
Are you?
In this COVID situation?
Okay, I got you. See, I've flown during COVID and all that stuff. I went down to Florida throughout this past year and everything, and as someone who had COVID themselves, I mean, I flew like before I ended up getting COVID. I had COVID.
You got the whole plane sick. Is that what you're trying to say?
What's that?
You got the whole plane sick? Is that what you're trying to say?
No. but no, I flew in October, and then I ended up having diagnosed with COVID in December, like right around Christmas time. That made it real tough. But I mean, overall, flying ain't as bad right now as you think. They're actually doing a half decent job. I mean, they're steam cleaning the plane between flights. I mean, they're doing all they can to help out.
My thing is like wearing a mask on a plane. Like I
see that's what see, I see other people on the plane. They have the mask down. They're just like holding the drink like right here by their mouth. They're like, nah, I'm having a drink. I don't need to be wearing the mask.
Yeah, it is what it is. Like you just see people like freaking out and doing dumb stuff, and I hate just being on a plane and then just having a mask on.
Yeah,
and it's nothing. It's just about being like stuck on a plane.
Yeah,
in like a COVID type situation. I'm like, I was telling people, I was like, yo, I might drive.
If I'm on the fence about it, but I think if I do go, I think if I do go, I'm probably going to drive, because even pre-COVID, I'm not a big fan of airplanes. So
you scared of flying, or
not
just
scared of flying? But
it's all right, man. We're all friends here.
Yeah, I'm not scared of flying, but like
it's a trust tree. Thomas?
Flying or road trip, I'd rather road trip.
Yeah, I said someone was like Atlanta, 13 hours. I was like, that ain't. I'll do 13 hours.
Yeah, you did that before. Yeah,
I'll drive.
Yeah, a buddy of mine went from like here in Hershey to Colorado and back in like 3 days, like just for a concert, like because the band he wanted to see was like never comes to the East Coast. So
yeah, you only live once, guys. Come on.
Yeah. It's all cliche, but it's true. Yeah.
What's that?
I said it's all cliche to say YOLO, but you know what? It's true.
It's
true. You only live once. So
if you haven't learned after this year, like life is short. Like you just do stuff that you love.
I mean, you like throughout COVID and everything. I mean, I know you've stayed in the house like the majority of the time and everything like that. But I know your story from talking to you and everything. But I mean, like once the time comes to where if we can get a little sense of normalcy, it's gonna be time. And a lot of these people are gonna be taking as many road trips as possible. Like, because a lot of people won't be faint of flying. They'll take those road trips. They'll make those memories while they got the chance.
I'm telling you, man.
If you got the chance to make that trip to Vegas, whether it's road trip or flying, if you got that opportunity, if your bank account, if you're checking in your savings, is cooperating, then show out. Go for it. Yeah.
Let's do it. You go see what you do is you go to Vegas, then you put your money on the Eagles.
You try to even out. Yeah.
Eagles win, and then you get your money back, and your trip is paid for free.
Yes, you even out. Yeah.
Can we all agree?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
As long as they don't lose, and then now you're double.
Then you ain't got a flight home. Yeah.
Or what you get if you guys don't go and I go, you can give me money, right? And I'll bet for both of you. and then we'll win, and then my trip's paid for. Thanks to you guys.
courtesy of T and
I'm just
K. Yeah.
saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Gayle Saunders trip sponsored by T and K.
Nice.
But then we get to week 8 in Detroit, dude. Wow.
Detroit, I mean, it's a golf-led team. I mean, Detroit, I just don't like that. That's a dub right there.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, we have a hard time winning in Detroit, but I feel like we should get a dub there.
Yeah, Detroit. I don't see any threat there. I mean,
Yeah.
not a knock on Goff or anything. I don't see it.
I agree.
Golf without McVay.
Yeah, that's the intriguing thing. His success was carried by McVay. So I mean, we'll see how he does outside.
Yeah, I like the direction that Detroit is going in. You know, hiring Dan Campbell, kneecap guy, and I think they got a great trade getting rid of Stafford for all those draft picks and Goff, and I like the direction that they're heading in. But I think even Detroit fans will tell you probably this year, not much to expect from them this year. So easy dub for us, I think.
All right, so we're all in agreement. That's a dub, week 8 in Detroit.
That's a W.
That's a dub.
Yeah.
Kind of dub. Thomas, that's a dub for you.
That's a dub, yeah.
All right, then we got the Chargers at home.
Justin Herbert.
Shane Steichen knows all the answers to the Herbert test.
Oh,
As his
good.
former was his offensive coordinator there?
Yeah.
Or QB coach. With
Oh,
the
you know,
Chargers.
it was QB coach. Yeah, it was QB
Yeah.
coach.
I think we got that as a dub.
Yeah, I feel like at home that's even if it was on the road, it would be a home game. I mean, it's
Veteran
LA.
defense, veteran
Yeah.
up front. What do you guys feeling about our pass rush?
Our pass rush, I feel like will actually be kind of underrated because I feel like even with the guys that we picked on the back end of the draft, like I'm really high on Teron Jackson. I don't know if you saw that post by the Eagles social media team. The size of that dude's hands, it looked like he'll engulf Justin Herbert's face if he gets to him.
Coastal Carolina, man.
Yeah, I mean, Coastal Carolina had a great year, like because of their defense, and Teron Jackson was the leader of that defense. I mean,
We got some depth. Even Marlon Tuidopo, like I had
USC, yeah.
had him like 4th round.
Yeah.
Some people had him as high as 3rd round.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a talk to prospect interview set up with him. Reaching out to the agent. We got a email saying everything's all good and everything's go. Waiting for the interview. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, he doesn't show. I'm like, bruh, come on, man. So I reached out to the agent, like, hey, just seeing where Marlon's at. Crickets. And then here we are. He gets drafted by the Eagles. And I sent another email out. I'm waiting for that interview. Like, come on, bro.
Comes full circle.
So I did all my research on Marlon, and when we drafted him, I was like, bro, like at least that research didn't go to waste because I felt like it was a solid pickup where they picked him up. But I mean, I think our defensive front, I think again, like against a Chargers team, I think we got Mr. Brandon Graham in the building. We got Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat is low key.
Yeah. Josh Sweat is very underrated. I feel like after Brandon Graham, he's going to be the guy coming off the edge.
Even Derek Barnett. I mean, if you're just talking about 3 edge rushers that are
dynamic, that can bend around that. Well, maybe dynamic's not the right word.
Sweat.
Like if yeah.
Can we agree Sweat has the best celebration of all of them?
Yes.
Yep.
By far.
Okay.
A close second is Fletcher Cox, like crawling around on the ground, and that's a close second. But Josh Sweat takes the cake.
That's how I know you guys are real fans.
Yeah.
You're crazy like me. Yeah.
We check out all that stuff.
Yeah, I
Oh,
like
man.
Barnett on that D line too, because I know he hasn't, had the best stats or anything being a first round pick. But I mean, he's still only 23 years old. Like,
Yeah.
there's rookies in
I
this
mean,
draft that
Josh
are the
Sweat
same
was
age.
drafted at 19 going on 20. I mean, he was an early prospect coming out of the draft, and he had his knee problems at Florida State. That's why he kind of fell to us at the back end of that draft. I mean, even in his rookie year, he was playing on a knee brace, and that's why we didn't see much of him.
He
But,
almost,
you
he almost
talk
had
about
to
a
have that
guy.
knee amputated. Did you know that?
Yeah, like it was that bad. Like that knee was completely caved in when he needed that surgery. It was a Teddy Bridgewater situation, like from his teammates saying like when they saw it happen, like it made them ill. Like it was bad. And Josh Sweat, when he was recruited to Florida State, was the number one defensive end prospect coming out of the high school ranks. I mean, that talent was there. And as soon as he got to Florida State, it carried over, but then the knee blew out and then it hurt his draft stock. And then
and they utilized him incorrectly. I think he was like lined up at what they call the I-9.
yeah,
Like he was like head up on like the tackles. Like you're using him all wrong.
right. Like that's like, I know it's not like technically correct, but like, I just feel when I see that, I just think like you have the dude playing linebacker. Like he ain't a D end anymore as soon as he's standing up. Like what makes a D end is being able to take his hands and put it right in the chest.
Yeah.
When you take that out of a guy like Josh Sweat, it takes it away.
Fun fact about Josh Sweat, he likes to build computers.
Oh, okay.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
That's a nice one, right? I think he built his own computer. Like he's like a tech geek.
Yeah.
You would never know.
Fun fact of the day there about Josh Sweat, future leader of the D line. How many years do you think we get out of Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox? Because I keep seeing that pop up on my time.
I think I mean, just the fact that they're, man, I was like, man, if we could have got Jeffrey Simmons.
Yeah.
That was my guy. Like I was like, yo, get him and stash him, and then when you're ready, you don't got to pay like a Javon Hargraves.
Yeah.
But I guess, like they got some muscle up front with those two guys, but I feel like what they paid for, and Milton Williams, who's might give you that Malik Jackson, vibes.
Right. Give you that stability. Yeah.
Then you went
to where like if one of the guys
Marlon
goes down, then you're relying on like a practice squad D tackle. Like no, like you're set up with a prospect as your third D tackle, which is why like I know a lot of people like didn't like the third round pick, but like it was another one of those selections where it's like I get it. Like it's not the sexy pick, it's not the like jump out of your seat, wow, what a steal in the third round. Like it's a necessary selection for what we've got on the D line right now. I mean, talk about a D-line who in like that 2015 to like present range has been the strength of the defense. That D-line's getting a little older now. So you gotta build when you can. So if that prospect is there, if you can stash that defensive end, that defensive tackle, then take the flyer on the guy, because then he can take the chance to learn his game at the NFL level. He doesn't have to immediately like sit beside Fletcher Cox on the D line and have to live up to that type of success where it's like, oh, I see Fletcher Cox like winning double teams. Like, how do I do that? Like, no, he can be behind Fletcher Cox at practice and ask him how he does it. Like, where do you put your hands? What's your footing like? What's your takeoff? Like drafting a guy like Milton Williams in the third round, I liked it because of that reason. Still got Fletcher Cox, who's still got some good years ahead of him, so he can still train at the top of his game.
The athletic profile you like, I mean, him the way that he tested was interesting. 4.6 40 at a DT.
Yeah.
That's that's faster.
That's freakish. Yeah.
That's faster than Jalen Mills runs.
Yeah.
I think if I'm mistaken, I think Jalen Mills is a 4.6.
I think it was like a 4.67 or something like that. I think
I know it's 4.6-ish. Hold on, Jalen Mills.
That's why you kept getting smoked on all those double moves, dude. You're running a 4.6 against a wide receiver that's running a 4.3.
Jalen Mills 40 time. Let's see. I'm looking.
Yeah, I love that Norton Williams pick.
Yeah, I'm a total nerd, guys. I got it. I said 4.61. 4.61. He runs a 4.61.
Nailing all of this, dude. True student of the game over here in Gayle Saunders.
That's how you know I have problems.
Yeah, I love that Norton Williams pick because I don't think you can really. I mean, you can't, but you can't teach athletic ability, and he definitely has that. So Fletcher Cox can take him under his wing and mentor him, and show him all the techniques and everything. I think after a couple of years of development, Norton could be one of the top, pass rushers on our team.
Like not top 5, but like flirting in the area where like teams have to like watch out for him. Like they have to like go around the edge instead of up the middle on the D tackles. Like, because I think that was the big part of what made our D line so good so many years is that teams feared. I mean, they still do, but they feared Fletcher Cox. Like, okay, we can't go up the middle. Like they got Fletcher Cox and whoever's beside him, they got a one-on-one. So I mean, you can't run up the middle. So we got to go around the edge, and that's where I think our linebackers have suffered over the years is because we haven't put as much time and effort into that linebacker room. And you face a guy like a Christian McCaffrey, like those types of running backs like a Saquon Barkley who can get around that edge better than going up the middle. That's where I think this defense has had its failures over the years, is where they don't put enough emphasis at that linebacker position.
Yeah, I mean, you want a linebacker who can like has range, but you also want a linebacker who can like fill in like gut offensives and like stack and shed. Kenneth Murray would have been nice.
Patrick Queen. Here we go again, digging up the past.
Jordan Hicks. Like we'll see.
Bring back Simba.
We'll see. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling Jordan Hicks.
He knows the.
Why wouldn't you like him as being like a guy who spent some time in Philly?
Yeah,
lived here.
I mean, we literally released him because of like injury concerns and not wanting to pay him. But literally, as soon as he goes to Arizona, he starts every single game. He hasn't missed one game. Yeah,
we knew he was going to get paid.
Yeah,
and we couldn't afford him.
It was just It was the injuries and didn't want to pay him because it was another coming off of an injury type of year. It's like, all right, like, well, we don't know what you were. Like, so ship you off, then he goes and balls out with Arizona. So if you have the opportunity to get him back, I think you got to do it because you're not in a position of your linebacker room to say, I think we're good. Like you're not there. You're not there with your starters and you're not there with your depth. Because I like a guy like Sean Bradley. I like Davion Taylor. I mean, Davion Taylor is very raw, but he still has a lot to learn. But I mean, you're talking about right now when you're trying to build something, why not go back after a guy who already knows what it's like here, who already knows, like, it's a different scheme, obviously, from then versus now. But you talk about a guy who's familiar with this locker room already, because there's still guys here who he played with and played a lot of games with. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that culture is still there. He knows Fletcher Cox. He knows Brandon Graham. He knows those guys. He knows Jeffrey Lurie. He knows Howie Roseman. It's not like he's coming into a totally new situation where it's like, all right, he hasn't played here since his rookie year and he's a 10-year vet. Like, no, he's only been gone for 2 years. So, I mean, if you have that opportunity to bring him back, you can't be content. If it's there, you got to go get him.
He was in the Wentz circle of trust.
Yeah.
He was in the trust tree. He was in that
group. So was Jordan Matthews, but that's besides the point.
I think they all spent Thanksgiving together. Another psycho trait of like remembering photos of their Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
I think Ertz. Hey man, we're not only if we lose Zach Ertz, we're also losing Julie Ertz.
Don't remind me.
I mean, there's a lot of Julie Ertz stands in this fan base.
So. Nah, like Julie can't be involved in the package. Like, nah, like Julie is labeled as untouchable. Like, all right, like you're getting Zach, and that's it.
I mean, are they the elite power couple of Philadelphia athletes?
Yes, I would say so. Because I mean, you talk about Ertz, who was coming off of a Super Bowl, and Julie, whose national team like beat Japan in the Women's World Cup the year before. I mean,
maybe Ben Simmons and the Jenner chick at the time.
No, absolutely not.
Jenner don't count.
No.
Yeah, but they've been
We
enough.
ain't digging that up.
They've been with enough sports athletes to. You can call them athletes.
Yeah.
All right, I'll stop where I'm at.
But then we get into week 10 with Denver. I still think this is Aaron Rodgers' landing spot if he's dealt. I know we touched on it earlier, but I mean, going into Mile High with no Aaron Rodgers, it's a dub. No Aaron Rodgers, it's a W. But if Denver finds a way to pry Aaron Rodgers from Green Bay, I mean,
is that really like a thing right now?
I think it's all just a prediction thing because of how John Elway is. I think that's all just speculation. But I personally just see it as the best fit for Aaron Rodgers. It gets him out.
And you trade him out of the NFC.
Yeah, that's my biggest hope right now is they just leaves the NFC.
Like Packers are like, nah, we're not going to. We don't want to see you in San Fran.
They'd be dumb to. They'd be dumb to trade him within the conference.
We'll put you in
because that stunts what they're trying to do with Jordan Love.
And then he's got to go against. Imagine the battles two times a year for the next 3 years between Mahomes and
Aaron Rodgers. Absolutely.
Because then you can nullify him. If
that's prime time game in either house for the next 3 years, a guaranteed primetime game.
Yeah, I mean that's a great matchup. If NFL Illuminati's listening,
yeah,
let's make that happen.
Yeah, no Aaron Rodgers, it's a dub for me. I know Mile High's a tough place to play, but if the matchups are there, I mean, either facing Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater, I mean, that's a dub. Now the quarterback's gonna light up the defense like some of the other quarterbacks we could face that have that potential to do that. But go ahead, Thomas.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a dub if they don't get Aaron Rodgers, but if they do somehow pull off a deal for him, I think Denver is going to be one of those teams that could go pretty far. Like, I don't know if they'd win a Super Bowl right away with them, or if they got them. But I definitely think in the next several years that they could probably pull one off. Like if they were able to do it before the season starts and get Rodgers, if there's 2 divisional games against Kansas City,
that makes that division right there. That's what's so intriguing about it is that those 2 games like really comes down to who's the bye in the AFC. Like that's like you're talking about like the way the conferences are set up to where there's only one bye to be had now. And that would be the division to chase if you're the rest of the AFC. I mean, it's coming down to Denver and Kansas City. Hypothetically, if it happens, is that those teams are battling for the bye. Because, I mean, Baltimore and like teams like Pittsburgh, they don't have enough firepower, I think, Lamar Jackson, he can beat you with his feet, but he sure as hell ain't going to beat you with his arm. So I don't think they have enough firepower to catch up with Denver and Kansas City in that division. So, I mean, if that happens, I would love to see that matchup in the AFC. But right now, as it stands, it's a dub for me.
Same.
But then we get into week 11. Finally, after all these years, we get to face New Orleans with no Drew Brees permanently. He's not even on the roster. Because, I mean, last year, it would have been the most total, 2020 Eagles season ever for Drew Brees to go out in week 2 and come back just in time to face the riddled Philadelphia Eagles. But, this is another game where I'm penciling this as a dub right away. Taysom Hill, Jameis Winston, I mean, not enough there. I mean, I know they're trying to buy in with what they got, but that's a really huge drop-off for the New Orleans Saints. I mean, I know they're going to try their best and everything, but I mean, they took Peyton Turner in the first round. I know you got to pick your guy if he's there, but Peyton Turner had a 3rd-round grade on him, dude. You're talking about a team that just lost a Hall of Fame quarterback and you used a 3rd-round grade for your 1st-round pick.
I had him. I had a third round grade on him.
Yeah. There's,
Second and third.
yeah. That's what I didn't understand. You lost your Hall of Famer. Like, I knew you weren't going to take a quarterback. Like, you're trying to roll with what you got. But
Hey, you never know, man. When the Colts picked up a Darius Leonard, everyone was like, "Whoa, way too early, bro." You never know.
Yeah.
Darius Leonard was it, what, South Alabama?
Yeah. Yeah. South Alabama.
Are you sure about that?
I think it was South Carolina State.
I'm my nerd radar is saying South Alabama, but
I think it's South Carolina.
you might be right.
Because there was somebody that's been drafted in the past couple of years that came out of that.
Oh, Thomas, South Carolina State. Yeah, buddy. I made major props to Thomas for landing that one.
Yeah, I think New Orleans is going to be a dub for us this week too, because not only did they lose Drew Brees, which is what they're talking about, but like they were in some bad salary cap space and they lost a lot of key veterans.
They're in salary cap hell for the next 3 years, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah, they lost some good, like solid players for them last year, like Emmanuel Sanders, Janoris Jenkins, like. Not so, like losing Drew Brees definitely hurt, but losing some of those other veterans.
But they're in the position of their salary cap to where if they relieve that cap, like with the guys that are taking up that space, they're immediately like a 3-win team because that cap space is taken up by Cam Jordan, by Marshawn Lattimore, by guys like that. Like so, they're in cap hell for a long time.
They can't pay everyone. They had that window to hit, and they didn't hit in that window.
Right.
They did get some really good talent. You know, they were hitting in the first through third rounds.
Yeah. Getting guys like Kamara and like Michael Thomas over the years and guys like that.
Second round, Michael Thomas.
Yeah. But that window was like here for so many years and just kept shrinking. Now it's gone, dude.
Like
Drew Brees was here. Yeah. Drew Brees was your saving grace. He was your automatic contention. He was your automatic ticket.
Even what's his name? From Florida, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
Yes, the safety. Yes,
like fifth round.
I think it was.
I was so mad when we drafted Clayton Thorson. I'm like, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is still on the board.
Clayton Thorson was the most useless 5th-round pick I've ever seen.
I'm telling you, we need to get hired, Kev.
just gotta stand outside Novacare and just like have signs out and just
we'll
don't
draft
leave.
for food. I dig it.
But yeah,
can you imagine if they let Eagles fans pick this? Use the past couple of years, we could have Metcalf and Jefferson, and
man, we would have had it right.
Yeah,
it's not as hard as you think it is. Like it's the whole theory of keep it simple, stupid is the thing.
Yeah. It's the total epitome of trying to be the smartest guy in the room and the dumbest guy in the room at the end of the decision.
Like it's like I remember I had for Roto World my first time with NBC. They put out our mock drafts. It was me, Sean King, and Josh Norris, and my boss was like, "Yeah, we're going to put your mock draft out." Like, to who? Like, oh, they're gonna tweet it out to like 500,000. What? I was like, my mock draft that I just put in is getting sent to who? What? And the amount of like death threats I got because I mocked Teddy Bridgewater to the Vikings.
And you got it right.
And I because part of the mock draft is like getting people crazed up, but I had a gut feeling that
people hooked, right? Yeah,
that he was going to be a Viking. Like just from all my research and study, I was like, yo, Zimmer's in love with this dude. They're gonna draft him, and I had him going earlier than like in the top 10. People were freaking out. Like what was top 11? I think Barr went 11.
Yeah.
Well, I had him going there, and people were freaking out on the timeline. And I was like, I was getting messages because they put out your email, and they're like, you suck. I'm gonna kill you. Da da da. Like
Uh,
you're just like, man. But I did get a whole bunch of picks in the back end right, and people were like, yo,
Yeah.
how did you get those picks? I was like, yo, from my research, I could tell where they were going. So, I mean, you if you keep it simple, stupid, like you can find the right
landing
fits.
spots. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Who's the fat wide receiver that went to Carolina Panthers?
Who is
Sorry,
it?
what was that?
Who's the fat wide receiver that went to the Kelvin Benjamin?
Kelvin Benjamin.
Yeah, Mockton.
Oh yeah, yeah. Where Booger called him like a Popeye's biscuit away from being a tight end. Yeah.
Imagine he was a big dude.
Yeah.
Eddie
He got
What's he
his
doing
name
now?
because he
Eddie
caught that
Lacy
game
at the
winning tutty.
wideout.
They should put him at offensive tackle. I'm not even lying.
Yeah, yeah. He's big enough. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why didn't anybody try him at offensive tackle?
Pretty sure Lane Johnson is skinnier than him now.
Villanueva was a wide receiver.
Yeah.
We're dropping knowledge all over the show, dude.
Lane Johnson was a quarterback, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a quarterback in high school, turned OT when he went to Oklahoma.
I was all up in this high school footage. Yeah. Was there.
Was he decent?
he just looks lanky and bigger than everyone else, and just like running all over the place, and he's the biggest guy on the field, and like that dude was all over the place. They didn't know what to do with him at Oklahoma.
Then we got him at what, 4 when we picked him?
4.
4. When he, looking back at it now, should have gone top 3. Yeah. Stolen for Chip Kelly. I mean, it was the one pick that Chip Kelly ended up getting right.
Yeah. So I mean, how do you guys think about on our show we talked about playing all these division rivals like in the back end of the season?
I'm on the fence, but when you talk about expanding the season by one game, I think sooner or later you're gonna find these matchups bulked together because there's only so much you can spread out with division opponents to where then it gets like too spread out. Like then you end up like it's literally Dallas week 3 and Dallas week 18. I just feel like with the expansion of the NFL season, there will be too much of that. So I feel like this is going to start happening a lot more. Now, if the rumored schedule holds true and we face Washington twice in 3 weeks, that's literally hot dog water to me. That's garbage. That's horrible to me. I can't get that out of my head, but
I mean, you got the Giants and then you have like the Jets. Like I feel like those are 2 winnable games. And then you go into the bye and then like say if you're in playoff contention, right?
Yeah.
I feel like you're in cruise control. Well, yeah, again, Washington's not the same Washington over the last couple
No,
years.
I mean, they still got Fitz magic. I mean, we'll see what happens with that. I mean, got Garrett Dub against them
Taylor Heineke shows some respect.
Yeah.
Who's also another Nugget, Rick Lovato's roommate at Old Dominion.
Yeah, I remember watching that, and Rick Lovato said like he was jumping off his couch like when he was like scrambling in for a tutty on Tampa. I'm just like, I felt that, dude.
That's his dude.
Because Washington was literally looking like they were going to pull it off for a while there with Taylor freaking Heineke under center. I mean, Old Dominion, Rick Lovato, Taylor Heineke, Travis Fulgham. I mean, Old Dominion is pretty underrated anymore.
Yeah, he's up there. But I think, when you're going back to New York, I feel like is Daniel Jones a guy who have we seen consistency out of his game? We've seen flashes. Has the team bought in as Daniel Jones the leader of this offense, or is he the guy that's holding them back?
Mm-hmm.
But he's gonna have an ample opportunity to like.
There's no excuse.
Shepard. He's got Kadarius Toney. He's got
Kenny Galladay.
He's got Evan Ingram,
Saquon Barkley,
and Darius Slayton. And did I say John Ross as well?
No, but John Ross, yeah. I mean,
in theory,
their wide receiver room is absolutely stacked, dude. If you're Daniel Jones, like, it's now or never, dude. If he doesn't get them to a point where they're satisfied with where he's at, I feel like they gotta find a trade suitor for him. Like, because I feel like that would just end up being a total, like, trying to find the right word. It is non-forgivable to not meet the expectation of the team that they put around him. Not saying he has to make the playoffs for that expectation to be a failure, but I'm just talking about, like, he needs to have them at like 8 to 9 wins for them to be satisfied this year, I think. For them to be satisfied with Daniel Jones' growth, with where he is in his career, because now he's 2 years in. This is year 3 now. It's usually second year is when you start seeing the true potential of your quarterback. I mean, we saw it with Wentz. We're seeing it with multiple quarterbacks anymore, that they need that second year now more than ever to find their game. Because
he's 3 years in.
Yeah, Jones is 3 years in coming into this upcoming season, isn't he? Because this past year was his second year.
Yep. I just feel like he's consistently inconsistent.
Yes, because I mean, like, he is still the same quarterback that, like, instead of like falling down to Jamal Adams, he just stood up and Jamal Adams just like said, "Give me it," and stripped the ball from him and ran for 40.
I mean, how many times is someone ripping the ball out of his hands? I mean, even like what was I gonna say? I totally forgot what I was gonna say.
Brain dead.
I think as an Eagles fan, like, I think the perfect thing for us with Jones is, I hope like he does clean up the turnovers a bit, and he's like has a good season, not great, that does good. I feel like if he goes out and they got him all these weapons and he still looks terrible, who knows if around the trade deadline or next offseason, if they try and go out and get Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, or
I think it would have to be the off season that they would make that decision, because
I think you're right.
Because trade deadline is so rare for a starting quarterback to get dealt, because that's too much of a culture shock for a team that's trying to get out of a situation and try to build a new situation. I feel like starting quarterbacks anyway, only find the hands that they're dealt in the off season. And I feel that if Daniel Jones has another subpar year to where he still has the turnover problem and he doesn't have the Giants in contention, then they have a serious decision to make, because they took a big chance on Daniel Jones. I mean, I know right now of the two choices, it was the better of the two. I mean, just at the time, it was looking like Dwayne Haskins was the front runner to be a New York Giant. And they took Daniel Jones, and a lot of people laughed at the pick, myself included. A lot of people did. I mean, even Giants fans didn't like it initially.
Laugh. I said I might do the dance and the laugh.
Yeah.
But I still feel like for any of those quarterbacks, it was too early.
Yeah, looking at it now, I mean, Dwayne Haskins has to learn behind Ben, see if he can make anything behind that. He's in Pittsburgh, and Daniel Jones still a work in progress.
If Eli Manning's quarterback coach or guru was a Dave from Duke,
yeah,
I mean, if he wasn't involved, would he? If it wasn't for Eli Manning and the cosign, would Daniel Jones be quarterback of the New York Giants?
Right. I feel like if Eli Manning was like still in the building, Daniel Jones would be further ahead than what he is. Because like, we can knock on Eli Manning all we want, but the knock on Eli really started towards the back end of his career, because when he was early on, he was smoking defenses. Like, it was apparent that he was the right choice at number 1 overall. And that whole draft dilemma with the Chargers and the Giants, that's a whole other story in itself. But I mean, Eli Manning knows what it's like to be that new kid on the block. I mean, Eli had to come in and be the savior of a franchise. I mean, Eli, it only took him 4 years to end up winning a Super Bowl, because drafted in 2004, won a Super Bowl in the upset with the Patriots in 2008. You talk about if Eli was still in the room today, Daniel Jones is going into year 3. Eli would really be in his ear right now about, this is what you have to do now. Like, your excuses are done. You're in year 3. You need to show out for your teammates, because year 1, no one really expects much from you. Rookie quarterbacks, I feel like anymore, a rookie year is really a continuation of college because that's a lot of information to take in if you're a week one starter. That's a lot to have to deal with. I know you got rookie camp, you got OTAs, training camp, and everything, but I think now more than ever, college quarterbacks are really going to struggle in their rookie year. I mean, we saw Patrick Mahomes sit behind Alex Smith for an entire season in Kansas City because they feel like
it was like best thing ever for him though.
Right. Like
Perfect.
I feel like in the direction the NFL is going and seeing a lot more quarterbacks like underachieve right away and teams are kind of like giving up early. I mean, we see with Jared Goff underperformed. Wentz, he had an unbelievable 2017, but other than that, like average to above average, whoever you talk to, but underachieved to the position that they were taking, 1 and 2. And I feel like unless you're that number 1 overall quarterback, I think you really gotta start considering sitting these quarterbacks down.
Until the schedule just released.
Yeah.
Check your emails from the Eagles. They just emailed the actual schedule. And it is right.
It is correct. All right. How about that?
Yeah. I was getting messages from people saying like, could you stop leaking the information? I was like, they're leaking all day long.
I was gonna say, like, you're not the one leaking it.
I was like, the internet is leaking the schedules.
I mean, the entire week 1 schedule was released at like 9 a.m. this morning.
Like people are like, could you just release the whole schedule and like stop making? I'm like, bro, it's not me that's doing this. This is. And on the calendar, there's a nice picture of Darius Slay.
Is he in his number 2, or is he still in his
number 2 jersey?
Number 2.
Brandon Graham in the middle, Jason Kelsey, elder statesman to the right. In the very middle, this is your nucleus, right? This is your nucleus. Fletcher Cox with his foot up in the air. You have Lane Johnson. He's showing a lot of emotion. And then right next to Fletcher Cox, you have Miles Sanders. What is that? That's the nucleus of the Eagles right now.
I like the addition to Miles Sanders because I feel like Miles Sanders, to make this offense go, Miles Sanders needs to continue off of what he's already done, because you want to talk about a true all-purpose running back, Miles Sanders, and you draft. I feel like you got one of the biggest steals in the draft. I hate to toot our own horns, but Kenny Gainwell, man, he's going to ball out for a running back number 2. I feel he's going to take a lot of pressure off of receiving the ball for Sanders, like kind of keep Sanders not really like a hidden weapon because everyone knows what he can do with the ball in his hands. But I feel like it takes a lot of like having Sanders run the ball like 15 times and catching the ball like 8 times to Gainwell becoming that kind of like a Cordell Buckhalter to Brian Westbrook. Like I know like totally different running backs and everything, but Cordell was here for all those years because his best trait was catching the football and being able to run in the open field. And that is what Kenny Gainwell is.
Hey, and then Kerryon Johnson. Our nickname is Carry Your Own Johnson. That's our nickname.
Carry on, my wayward son. Yeah.
Yeah. I've sang that enough over the last couple of days.
Yeah.
That's Kansas actually sang that song.
Yeah.
From my research. But I feel like Kerryon Johnson, you get that element of
power,
thunder, sorta. Yes. We've got the lightning. I think there's a lot of disrespect going on to Miles Sanders right now. Who's that? Matt
Berry.
Really? Like he's that's the nail in the coffin for Miles Sanders. Like, bro, what have you been watching?
Like, no disrespect to Kerryon, but like he's not the running back 1 in this room.
He's got meniscus issues. Like he's had. I'm like he's serviceable. He's gonna be serviceable with us. He doesn't have to be relied on as a RB1 in any means. He's a nice stable. Back to the stable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more you're looking at like guys like Boston Scott, for no more basicness of Corey Clement. Like, how about Corey Clement? What, like his
He
career?
just keeps hanging around. He's like this damn fly in my kitchen right now.
He's done. Well, you know who's wearing his jersey now?
Yeah.
Jacoby Stevens is number 30. So it's a wrap. But just think about it. You watched Corey Clement in the Super Bowl. You're like, wow, this rookie is like
how did he go undrafted?
Undrafted free agent is doing this in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And he was an unsung hero that entire season too. Let's not forget that.
And he just fell apart.
Yeah.
His body, like I definitely injured.
Whether it was complacency because he had the highest high and didn't know how to get back up that high anymore. I don't know.
Yeah,
are you guys like in terms of like the schedule? Is this like one of the highs for you during the off season?
One of the highs?
Yeah. Like, are you super high about the schedule?
I like the schedule. I think I feel like this offense, because me and Thomas described this last episode. I feel like with Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts in the room together and reunited, I feel like this offense will actually shock some people. Not to the point of obviously like a 2017 or anything like that, but I feel like before, like pre-Devontae Smith, like if we would have gone like potentially like a corner at 12 or early on in the draft, I feel like we would have been talking about like maybe like a 4 or 5 win team, like with a couple of wins coming in the division and like another win outside of the schedule. But I feel like now looking at the schedule and like how it evens out, I mean, after the first 5 weeks of like really being tested, there's a lot of winnable games in this schedule. Like I know, like I hate the term easiest schedule because teams improve over the season. They know what they did wrong. They know what to address. I hate that narrative of easiest schedule. I'm like, no, it would have been the easiest schedule in 2020. We're in 2021 now. Let's get it right. So, I mean,
I was that Bleacher Report put out there like easiest schedule, Eagles, Pittsburgh with the toughest.
Eagles, Pittsburgh, and Dallas are the top 3 for easiest schedules. But I hate that narrative. I hate it with a passion because teams improve over time, and we did too. And I feel like pre-Devontae Smith, we would have been talking about like a 4 or 5 win team. But with an extended season and the extension of a wild card, I'm not saying we're going to be there, but I feel like we'll be like in that graphic of in the hunt in like week 13, I mean, hey, where we're looking at this team and we're like, okay, like we're getting into the divisional games now. Now it's time to make or break. I feel like it will come down to those divisional games.
I hate that narrative too, the easiest schedule. Like you said, like there's so many teams on the schedule too that like we're not even facing the same. They don't even have the same quarterback. Like that's most important. Like Carolina, Sam Darnold. Like there's so many different.
Zach Wilson, things. New Orleans, Taysom Hill, Denver. Who knows what they've got? And
Jared Goff in Detroit. And I think last time I checked, I think Vegas had their over/under wins on the season like 7. Yes. What do you guys think? You think over that or under?
I might be surprised and go over.
Yeah, I would go over on 7. Yeah.
The fact that we have one more game that's away, kind of stinks, but it is what it is. Yeah. But
I would prefer that game to be in London, since Atlanta has had the London games going in. That would be cool.
Would you guys went to London if there was a game over there?
I actually would have went to London if we went over there because, like, I know COVID and everything, like, it's tricky to go overseas anywhere. But I feel like that's another one of those things where it's like, if you want to scratch it off your bucket list as a sports fan, I think you got to do it. Because there's so many things on my bucket list that I want to get done as a football fan. I mean,
you're just
I got a Super Bowl dude, but I was this close to being to that Atlanta 2017 divisional game. Like I was that damn close. I just needed someone to go with me. The guy I usually go to the game with, he was on call for his job that Sunday. So, I mean, he couldn't go. I was like,
I was there. It was the loudest I've ever seen the stadium.
Yeah. It's not even a dome stadium, and that stadium looked like it was shaking.
I
because
grabbed somebody's child, and I remember we were, it was this dude and his son, and we were like intensely watching the game. It was like, you're high fiving these guys the whole game, and
Yeah.
when just me and him, I just grabbed this kid and we were like just screaming at the top of our lungs. I don't know who this family is. I don't even know it was just a moment, and it was like you could feel the stadium shake.
Yeah,
it was great. It was great.
All right, let's finish out the schedule here. Let's just go through, see what we got for dubs and L's. Just go through real quick, see what we got. We got what? Well, let's start with both New York games. Giants and Jets back to back. What are we thinking?
I think that I want to say that we're going to beat the Giants, but I feel like they're 11 weeks into the season. They're just waiting for this game. I don't think we're super mad at New York for anything, but how mad
They're
they
pissed
are
at us. Yeah.
So
Well,
we're definitely going to get their A game for that one. But that other New York game, the Jets, I think will handle that easily. And I think the second game against New York, after they got their anger out against us the first time, I think we probably take care of them the second time.
I think we split with the Giants. I think we definitely win those 2 in a row.
Yeah, I think we win the 2 in a row, and then we drop to the Giants at home. That's kind of where I'm at too. I feel like the Giants will be too caught up on the emotion of the game, and that's when I think, like, if this Eagles team is playing with energy, the energy will far outweigh the emotion that's going on with the game. Because who knows where the season will be at that point? Who knows what the identities will be? I mean, we're talking about a Week 12 game here. Who knows who's on the field, off the field, who's got jobs and who doesn't? I mean, there's a lot of drama that comes with this game. There's a lot of controversy that comes with the game. So, I mean, if the Giants aren't sitting pretty, who knows what the Daniel Jones situation looks like? But I think we go 2-0 with the Giants and the Jets right there. Then we have the nice bye late in the season. It's kind of a good or bad thing. All depends on how the team reacts. But then we come off the bye, face Washington. I'm chalking that up as an L. I think we split with Washington this year.
I think we split it with them too. Fitzpatrick always has our number.
But that's what hurts me is that I have a split with New York. So I think we drop 15-16 with Washington and New York. But then we close out the season with 2 straight dubs against Washington and Dallas. I feel like 15 through 18, we split 2-2. And we'll see what destiny holds for us there.
I mean, I feel like it's a perfect opportunity to, like, if you stack some dubs during the beginning of the season.
Yeah, like post week 5 is your huge opportunity. Yeah.
I mean, if you want to go to whoever the best, that just shows you right there the best team wins. Like whoever wants it the most is going to go to the playoffs, and we're all going to beat each other up in that last couple weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, those last like 3-4 games are like, since they're all divisional. I mean, NFL made it that way for a reason. They want that intensity there because there's been too many times the past few years where they pencil in these games to be meaningful games in the end, and they just end up resting starters. So, I mean, they're trying to ramp up the intensity for a playoff run, especially with an expanded wild card. So we'll see how this all unfolds.
Did you see Los Angeles Chargers? They are putting out their schedule, and they're
going like they tagged us like using like a ranch dressing Pop-Tart or whatever.
So I don't get it.
And Iraq was like, "Is it racist?"
Yeah. I was like, okay. Or ranch dressing Pop-Tart. Is that a real flavor?
No.
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 I was gonna say, I was like, what?
Interesting. If it was real flavor, I'd be going to the store. I mean, just to give it a try. I would
mean-
have just like taken one Pop-Tart out of the box and then put it back.
I mean, overall, I'm
I think it's
excited
the
about
Browns that they made cement flavored. I think it's the Browns. Cement
Yeah.
flavored.
this. Yeah, dude. Are they having a show on Eagles right now? Is that what they're
It
doing?
might be.
So to finish out this episode, what's your final prediction for a record? I think the 17 game schedule. I want to go better than this, but being realistic, I think they go 8-9.
If I'm going to be politically correct, maybe I'll go 9-8. How about that,
Yeah.
Thomas?
Can't go 8-8 anymore.
Yeah, those jokes with Dallas are gone, unfortunately.
A 9-8 schedule wouldn't be bad
No, it
Yeah.
after what we just went through.
Yeah, after what we just went through. But you know what? I'm gonna one up all two of y'all. I'm going way too early prediction of a 10-7 with a wild card berth.
Wow.
there we go.
I'm going 10-7 wild card. Nick Sirianni. He's a meme right now in the Eagles organization, but I think once it comes time to call the plays that are on that card, I feel like he's gonna actually outsmart a lot of people.
All right.
That should get him coach of the year right there if he pulls that off, I think.
I
sleep
think
on
it
Nick.
would, depending on who else is having a great year. Because I mean, like, you still got teams like Chargers and stuff that were picking in like the top 5 last year and stuff like that to get Justin Herbert. You know, guys like that. Like if Justin Herbert takes like a big leap, and even Matt Rule with Carolina. Like if Matt Rule takes Carolina to the playoffs and revives the career of Sam Darnold, it would be a tough award to pry away from Matt Rule of the Panthers. Personally.
We're going to
How
Super Bowl, guys.
Hell yeah.
Let's be
Speak it
real.
into existence.
Let's be real.
But all right, Gayle, we want to thank you again, man, for coming on. It was a blast talking to you as
I
always.
appreciate you guys, man. Hey, I know that I was talking to some real football fans. Nobody can just drop South Carolina State Darius Leonard reference. You know,
Props, Thomas. Props.
very rare, very rare. But yeah, man, appreciate you guys sticking around. And hey, you guys are always welcome on the 4th of Jawn podcast and our tailgates as well, man. It's all about bringing everybody together in the community. And hat tip to you guys for starting off your podcast with a bang. 3 episodes in, just keep on recording, man. Keep doing your thing over here.
Appreciate y'all, man. You're welcome back anytime, dude. Pleasure to have you on.
Man, go Birds.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.